Hey, how's it going, forum? It's certainly been too long since my last video. Well, I just wanted to put together a short video summing up what's been happening in the last month. This being November 2010, there's been some interesting developments happen just recently. Here's the headlines that made the news in November 2010. Well, first of all, simply everybody has been talking about that missile. That's right, the huge ICBM plume cloud that's been seen off the coast of California. But of course, one thing that most people don't know is that exactly the same thing was seen the Thursday before. That's right, in this little-known video of the guy who took the footage of the plume cloud of the ICBM rising off the coast of California, he actually admits he saw the same thing a number of days before he saw this one.
It was unique. It was moving. It was growing in the sky. As I zoomed in, I used a 2x extender on the lens to get a closer look, and you could tell that the object, whatever it was spiraling up in the sky. You could see the clouds were kind of swirling, and as I zoomed in and got tighter on it, it appeared that it was spinning and going in a westerly direction. Well, I realized that it was something that we saw earlier from the week before. We saw something very similar the past Thursday, and immediately I realized that it was something very similar, and called on the two-way to our assignment desk to let them know that we were seeing it again. It's not as dramatic as the one from yesterday. The one from yesterday was pretty spectacular. It was like I said, it was growing in nature, and it continued to grow up, fly up into the sky. And at one point, it seemed to separate. The smoke or the plume seemed to stop and then continue further up in the sky, and then finally disappear.
Now, the naysayers will tell you that this is nothing more than a contrail, or some kind of left-behind residue from a plane. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never seen a plane that takes off from the sea. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never seen a plane that has come out of the ocean and takes off into the sky just like a missile does. Even the experts agree this guy here, claiming to be a former missile technician, actually makes the identification that it is in fact an intercontinental ballistic missile. Definitely, from his experience, he knows what these suckers look like. Now, the very curious thing that on the same day, some 10 months earlier that this happened, there were 3 missiles seen overhead in Newfoundland in Canada. Interesting. Check the link out in the description. The day after the missile was spotted from the coast of California, also, there was this thing spotted in New York.
Did a bizarre glowing red-hot streak in the sky right at sunset, moving briskly behind the Manhattan skyline. CBS 2 reached out to a top astronomer who looked at the video. He says it looks beautiful, but it's likely nothing more than what's known as contrail, condensation from a commercial or military jet. Aliens apparently are not coming.
Looks like a comet racing across the skyline.
Which is, this is also the same thing that they're saying is the explanation for what they caught out in Los Angeles yesterday, which looked like a missile. They say it's this contrail.
What is it exactly? Nobody knows. But once again, the mainstream media are calling it a contrail. Are we getting closer to disclosure? Is the military letting off all these secret craft? Who knows? Interesting, but then again, maybe just another X-file. Now, a lot of people have been speculating whether or not is it a Chinese missile or it is American. One of the options that has not been speculated on is whether or not this is a broken arrow or maybe a rogue faction within the U.S. military. Time to consider. The one consideration I haven't seen yet on any website is that possibly this might have come from a Dolphin-class submarine. That's right, the same kind that Israel have that actually have 8 ICBMs in their storage grounds. Now, why would America not try to make a big deal out of this? Well, of course, because their allies in crime were the ones that set the missile off. Who has ever made that suggestion? Well, to date, there's been nobody suggest that maybe even this was an Israeli missile coming from an Israeli sub. But then again, without any evidence, I cannot back up or clarify that statement. However, we're left to speculation because the U.S. military refused to identify what exactly the missile was. Whether or not it was U.S. launch or whether it was a Chinese or Israeli or even a Korean launch, we are left with the consideration that somebody pushed a button somewhere and let off some kind of rocket into the stratosphere. Welcome to the 21st century. That's all for me for now. Take care, God bless, and as always, add to favorites, save. Please feel free to re-upload. This is Steve Johnson signing off saying ciao for now, buongiorno, bene grazie, and of course, as always, God bless.